Pokemon TCG Black Bolt and White Flare are releasing on July 18th, and in today's video we're going to be covering every single competitive Pokemon card that's worth talking about and give you guys my thoughts, my first impressions, some cool combos I have cooked up and also might be thinking of on the spot, and you'll also get to see my genuine reaction to these Pokemon from the Black and White generation, which I never really spent any time with because I didn't play Pokemon during that era. For this video I'm also going to have timestamps or chapters as well, so you can easily navigate throughout this video if you want to come back to it. And if you're new to the channel, hey, welcome. My name's Christian. I am a sponsored competitive Pokemon card player who plays in the Greater Toronto area by the store Comfy Hobbies. If you guys want to buy any Pokemon cards at all and would love to support an awesome local card shop, check out comfyhobbies.com and use code SneakerTalk to save 5% off. And I do have an eBay store as well where I have some of my trading cards for sale along with a bunch of dope sneakers around size 10. Fun common question of the day. There's no giveaway for this one in particular, but we actually did YouTube shorts for these starter decks from the Black and White era. My friend Robert hooked it up with these. I gotta return them to him. But yeah, let me know which of the Black and White starter Pokemon was your favorite that you had, or just is your favorite in general. If you didn't play the games like me, you can feel free to comment down below what you think about these upcoming Pokemon cards. Are they broken? Will they be meta defining? Will they shape or warp the meta? Well, let's find out together. So starting off with the grass Pokemon, we're kicking things off with Snivy. Very simple, 70 HP, so it's buddy poffinable. And we got the Tackle and Vine Whip attack, so pretty standard basic Pokemon. We got Servine coming up next with the Wrap attack. You can discard an energy off your opponent's active Pokemon. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool on a coin flip. And then Vine Whip as well. Probably not going to be a card that sees too much play. If you're playing a TM Evo deck, maybe you'll see Servine that way. Last but not least, the big reason to play these cards, we have Superior EX, a 320 HP grass type stage 2 Pokemon with the Royal Cheer ability. Attacks used by your Pokemon do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Really solid damage boost kind of ability. So it does look like if you have multiple Superior EXs on the board, you might be able to get away with some extra bonus damage. And then it has the attack here, Grass Order. For 1 grass and 3 colorless, you do 150 damage, so 4 energies in total. And it says you may search your deck for up to 3 cards and put them into your hand. So a really strong attack if your opponent is not able to hand disrupt you. Now 150 damage does seem a little lackluster, you know, for a 4 attack cost sort of attack, but do keep in mind we have the Royal Cheer ability as well, which means you're going to do a minimum of 170 as long as the ability actually works. And let's say if you have 2 superiors, you're swinging for 190, and if you have 3 for whatever reason, you're going for 210. So you have a lower sort of attack output, but who knows, maybe the grass type decks going into this next format could have really great support in other ways. This card does have an attack cost of 1 grass and 3 colorless, and there's a really strong energy card which we're going to talk about later in this video, but I'll just give you guys a teaser of it now. It's Ignition Energy, and it is basically a 1-turn use triple colorless energy that any Pokemon can use regardless of if it's a evolution or basic. You know, we have Reversal right now, which is triple like rainbow energy for evolution Pokemon as long as you're down on prizes. Ignition Energy could really shake things up going forward in the Black and White format. So there's your look at Superior EX. I think it's a pretty cool grass type Pokemon. I think it's cooler than Venusaur, I'll be honest with you. Looks kind of like could be like a villain. Looks like a character that could fit into the Inuyasha universe, and I don't really think it's going to see too much play. This is definitely going to be one of those more like rogue kind of decks, but who knows what other kind of grass type supporters or support Pokemon or just, you know, trainers out there can benefit grass type Pokemon. It's definitely a card that has a lot of potential, but I don't think it's going to be really utilized when the set first comes out. Cottony here as well, looking like what's the cotton candy? It looks like cotton candy, like a grass type cotton candy card. 60 HP basic attack, so not really an interesting card here, but it could have something that evolves into that's really solid, which is the Whimsicott EX. And I get a little bit of PTSD actually, because I remember playing against Dennis Peroff, 2nd place Vancouver regional finalist, local to Toronto. I believe he's in like Oshawa, but I used to see him at a lot of tournaments. I haven't seen him too much lately, maybe because of summer break. And I played against him when he was playing the Whimsicott V-Star deck. So let's see here, Whimsicott EX, stage 1, 230 HP. We have the first attack for 1 grass, Energy Gift. search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. So it's kind of like Trinity Nova off of Arceus V-Star, but you're not doing any damage, and it's just 1 grass energy. Pretty underwhelming attack if I'm gonna be honest with you. And then the other attack here is Wonder Cotton. For 1 grass energy, you're doing 50 damage times, and it says your opponent reveals their hand. This attack does 50 damage for each trainer card you find there. So it's kind of like Banette EX. If your opponent is potentially like item locked, maybe you had like a Jellicent in your deck or whatever, or just some way to item lock him. Maybe you pair this with Badoo. You know your opponent has a ton of item cards in their hand or whatever, and then Wonder Cotton comes in, bam, sort of a big 1-hit KO kind of thing right there. So pretty interesting card. Don't think this is going to see much play, honestly, and 230 HP on a stage 1 is a little rough to see. It does have free retreat, which is one small redeeming characteristic about the card, but honestly, I don't think it's going to see very much play. Next up, we got Tepig, so we're getting into the Fire Evolution line. Tepig's pretty cute. I think it's underrated. I like Tepig. Tepig's a cool pick. All right, so 70 HP. It's cool to see that they made it 70. I could have totally seen a world where they made it 80 HP with like a 2 retreat cost, and then you can't buddy poffin it. So they made Tepig buddy poffinable, which is really good. Gotta say, the artwork for this is quite nice. I'm definitely a fan of this artwork. Ignite looks a little funny. We got the combustion attack. I think I remember that attack the most from like an OG Charmeleon or something like that. But anyways, 110 HP on this stage 1, 3 retreat costs. So that's where the retreat cost starts getting very thick and hard to look at. Then we got the Heat Crash attack for 2 fire and a colorless. And then last but not least, we have Emboar. Basically, if you ever played with Baxcalibur, this is Baxcalibur, but for fire type Pokemon. So what I mean by that is, well, first off, we got 180 HP on the stage 2, and it has the ability Inferno Fandango. What a unique name. It says, as often as you like during your turn, you may attach a basic fire energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So if you guys are familiar with Shenpao Baxcalibur, it has that exact same kind of synergy. So if you ever play a fire type of deck, Emboar will definitely be a card to potentially include, especially if you're playing a rare candy version of a fire deck. So your Emboar can also take advantage of those rare candies from your Tepig, and then you can also get your stage 2 fire Pokemon going as well. And then your Emboar is going to be able to sponsor all of those energies, so your Pokemon can attack the same way Comfy Hobby sponsors me to play Pokemon. Code SneakerTalk for 5% off. Heat Crash, 120 damage for 4 energies. That's a lot of energies for 120, but again, Emboar makes energy acceleration so much easier. So when you see these higher attack costs for your fire type Pokemon, it won't be as intimidating to see. And on top of that, you don't just have to attach the fire Pokemon. Similar to how in Shenpao Baxcalibur, you could use your Baxcalibur's ability to throw a bunch of water onto Iron Hands EX. Emboar could also be a case for that as well. So you can see, the random Iron Hands EX thrown into some fire heavy decks, and just any deck that wants to enjoy using fire energies, Emboar could see a lot of play. This is a card that definitely has a lot of potential. Next up, we got Larvesta, 60 HP with a Peck Off attack. Before doing damage, discard all Pokemon tools from your opponent's active Pokemon. So a tool discarding Pokemon. Okay, pretty cool. The artwork here looks very unique. I like the color. I like the different colors, and I like the color palette on this card. It looks really nice. And then we have the Volcarona that it evolves into, 120 HP. We have the Heat Wave Scales ability. Once during your turn, you may discard a basic fire energy card from your hand in order to leave your opponent's active Pokemon burned. Ooh, that sounds very, very good. You could pair that Volcarona with, of course, decks that play the Emboar, say, because you're gonna have a lot of maybe fire energies in your deck, so you can either attach them to your Pokemon, or you could discard them to make your opponent burned. And if you don't know what burn does, it does an instant 20 damage during Pokemon checkup, and you flip a coin. If tails, your opponent's Pokemon stays burned, and then they take another 20 in the next checkup, and then you flip a coin again, and if it's heads, then they can get healed off the burn, but if it's tails, they stay burned. So potential for Volcarona in many fire decks. You could just play a 1/1 copy of this. Just being able to burn your opponent's Pokemon is really nasty. If you're able to knock out your opponent's Pokemon in between turns, which is one of the most devious things you can do in the Pokemon TCG, and that's because you can deny Fezandipiti EX. And if you deny Fezandipiti EX, you're denying that +3 draw that so many players are sort of banking on to happen to sponsor their next turn of attacks. Code SneakerTalk. It also has the Fire Wing attack. For 1 fire, 2 colorless, you do 70 damage. Underwhelming, so Volcarona, play for the ability. Pretty cool. All right, next up, we got Reshiram EX, the big, bold, and new fire Pokemon. We got a tanky 230 HP. We have the attack slash for 2 colorless, you do 50. And then the main attack you're really using here is the Blaze Burst. For 2 fire and a colorless, you do 130 base. And it says this attack does 50 more damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. Discard an energy from this Pokemon. So you have to discard 1, not big of a deal, honestly. And then you get to do that bonus damage as well. That's pretty good. You know, Charizard EX is known for being so good because as the game progresses, as prizes get taken, Charizard's power, its power levels just increase to over 9,000. And so Reshiram EX has that kind of potential as well. A very strong basic Fire EX Pokemon. Definitely a card that has a lot of potential. I don't think it's going to be meta defining or anything like that, but definitely a lot of room for potential for Reshiram EX. And I gotta say, I think Reshiram EX is a really cool legendary Pokemon. It looks very majestic. I think that's the right word, majestic. All right, next up, let's get to the water type Pokemon. Kicking things off, we have this absolutely beautiful artwork of Oshawott. This is so cute. Oh my goodness, I love this. I love this. Rika nailed it. All right, so 70 HP. First off, it's Buddy Poffinable, which is great. We got Tackle and Water Gun, so very standard sort of basic Pokemon that's going to go into a stage 2 later on. Next up, we got the Duwat, which looks really cool as well. It reminds me of the hands on it, or is it holding some shells? Yeah, the way Duwat is holding some shells, it kind of reminds me of those, I think it's in Dynasty Warriors. There's like the characters that use like these like bladed sharp fans, like to fight and combat people. So Duwat is giving me that energy from Dynasty Warriors. Next up, we got Samurott. So it looks like for the black and white starters, only Superior EX was the only one. Superior was the only one to get the EX treatment. The other 2 got shafted with just a basic, you know, baby stage 2 version, non-EX. So we're not going to see any amazing Samurott artworks, I think. Anyways, 160 HP. We have the ability Raging Rapids. Once during your turn, you may switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Then your opponent switches their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. So it's basically you get a free switch every single turn if you want. So if you have a deck that could take advantage of switching around, it's really solid. Also really good too if you are concerned about sort of those control retreat lock decks. Samurott can help you get around that. And then you also have the ability of basically Iron Bundle every single turn on demand with Samurott too. So since your opponent picks it, you know, that isn't super beneficial, but sometimes that could be just exactly what you need if you need to gust, say, something like a big 2-prize Pokemon now to the active, so you can swing into a stage or a baby, basic one, a 1-prize Pokemon, for example. And then we have the attack for 1 water, Energy Slash. It does 30 damage, plus it says this attack does 50 more damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon. So essentially, it's very similar to the stage 1 Pokemon we saw a second ago, Duwat, where it's 30x times the water energies on it. This one is 30 base and then 50 for each. Next up, we got Time Pull right here, 60 HP with the round attack. This attack does 20 damage for each of your Pokemon in play that has a round attack. So it's one of those funny sort of like minion army decks where you just want to flood your board with a bunch of the same similar Pokemon to do more damage. How many Pokemon are going to have the round attack? That's going to be the difference maker between how good this deck can be and how good it wouldn't be, because you might just want to play United Wings instead over the round tempo build. Palpitoad evolving from it, some derpy looking Pokemon, man. Actually, Palpitoad or Time Pull almost looks like a Digimon or like a Neopet, I'll be honest with you. All right, anyways, Palpitoad, 90 HP water Pokemon. We got the round attack as well, so you know you're able to maintain the round attack on the board, but this time it does 40 for each round attack Pokemon that you have. So you're increasing the power level by 2. I like that. And then we have Wave Splash for 1 water, double colorless. You're never going to use that attack, let's be honest. You're going to only use round. And then next up, we got Seismitoad. Ooh, Seismitoad. This is one goofy looking goober. Oh my goodness. So it needs 3 colorless energies, so it plays very nicely with Reversal Energy and Ignition Energy. 70 damage for each Pokemon with the round. So it looks like it's all about these little frogs right here. You're gonna have to have these round Pokemon, and it's probably only gonna be these 3, the whole evolutionary line. So you have other ways to support your Pokemon, and it being a 1 prize Pokemon does mean you have that to your advantage, you could say. Yeah, Seismitoad, underwhelming. Definitely going to be like a fun meme rogue deck. Don't expect to see anyone playing this deck too seriously. Tortuga is a Pokemon that evolves from a fossil item card. So we're going to get to the item cards later. But let's just talk about the Tortuga right now. It's essentially a stage 1, 100 HP water Pokemon. We have the Ancient Debris. So it's going to throw all those straws at you. It says this attack does 30 damage for each item card in your opponent's discard pile. So you're definitely not going to be playing Tortuga with any Badoo cards. You actually want your opponent to be playing items essentially, and then you have Surf. So I think this is a pretty bad card, I'll be honest with you. Your power level only increases the more your opponent gets to play the game with more of their items. So not too crazy about this card. Then we got Carracosta, 180 HP stage 2 Pokemon. We have the Mighty Shell attack. So will this be the redeeming card in the evolutionary line? It says prevent all damage to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon that have special energy attached. Ooh, so you're able to basically have a defensive unit, a wall, against decks that play special energies or rely on those special energies to attack. So maybe we're playing against some sort of Dragapult EX deck that doesn't play any psychic energies for whatever reason, because it's being paired with like Charizard, so they're relying on Luminous. So that could, slow your opponent down a lot. If your opponent deck basically relies on special energies, which it isn't too much of a thing right now, but it could be a potential defensive powerhouse in the future against those special energy style of deck. Then we got the Big Bite attack. I was gonna say we got the Big Back attack. We got Big Bite for 1 water, double colorless, 150 damage, and it's a retreat locking attack too. So pretty cool way you can really control and restrict your opponent. It is definitely a card that could weave its way into control style decks. If you're playing like some sort of Pidgeot EX control or something like that, Carracosta would be your easy answer to basically auto win special energy only style of decks. Next up we got Alomomola. That sounds like a tongue twister. It also sounds like a disease. It sounds like Alamamola. So we got the Gentle Fins ability. Also 110 HP. Got a nest ball this puppy out. It says once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may put a basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less from your discard pile onto your bench. Ooh, that's really cool. It's a Night Stretcher on demand for your little baby basic Pokemon. So that's unique. That's a cool effect. Don't think it's going to be very competitive at the moment, but cool effect. And next up we got Kyurem EX. Ooh, so very similar to the Reshiram EX big basic fire Pokemon, we have the big basic ice type Pokemon here. We have the slash attack, just like what was it, Reshiram. For double colorless you do 50, and then we have the Blizzard Burst. So this time, instead of doing like a base damage and then scaling for prize cards for the damage numbers, it's 2 water, a colorless, 130 base, but the effect is this attack does 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon for each prize card your opponent has taken. So it has a very similar aura, you can say, to Reshiram EX in terms of prize cards taken increases its power level, but this time it's a bench sniping Pokemon. Very unique card, honestly. Wow, that's pretty cool. Definitely a lot of cool things you could do with this Kyurem EX. You could even like potentially pair this with something like a Frostlass deck and get some like kind of retreat lock kind of stuff going, and then reverse sweep them with the Kyurem EX by the end of it. So that'd be kind of cool to see. I like that. Kyurem EX has a lot of potential and is also very cool, majestic looking, maybe less majestic, more scary. I think it's the teeth. I think the teeth make it look really scary, but really cool ice type Pokemon, and yeah, definitely could weave its way into a lot of different water Pokemon, water decks out there. And unfortunately, we don't have Irida anymore. Irida used to be so good. But yeah, probably a one-off inclusion, or you kind of build your deck around it. Like I said, maybe like a Frostlass control style of deck, and then Kyurem cleans up the house. Next up, let's get to what we're here for. Let's be honest, people. We're here for the lightning type Pokemon, and oh baby, we are in for a treat. So starting things off, we have Galvantula, and Galvantula is the perfect inclusion for these lightning type decks because you guys know Miraidon EX has evolved into Joltik Box, and we play at least two Joltiks in the Joltik Box deck. You could potentially even start upping those numbers if you wanted to, or you just have more attackers that you can evolve your Joltiks into. I know not everyone likes to evolve their Joltiks, but you kind of have to in certain matchups, and in some cases it can actually just be really, really good, like really game winning. So we already have the baby Galvantula from Shrouded Fable, amazing one prize Pokemon that can 1-hit KO Pokemon such as Grimmsnarl and Charizard EX, Zoroark EX as well. Then we also have the Galvantula EX from, I believe, Twilight Masquerade. I'm not sure 100%, but yeah, Galvantula EX, really good as well. 260 HP Pokemon with Bench Barrier, and you can also 1-hit KO a lot of big basic Pokemon like Fez, Mew, the list goes on. Now we have a new Galvantula to add to the arsenal. This one is at 90 HP, baby Pokemon, so it's a one prize Pokemon, and we got the discharge attack. We have for one lightning, you do 50 damage, and it says discard all lightning energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 50 damage for each card you discarded in this way. Ooh, okay, I see the potential here. So you could have, you know, one Joltik charge up another Joltik, then that Joltik evolves into the Galvantula, and then you can just go like pop off with a big attack with the 1-hit KO from Galvantula, maybe even have some electric generators in there as well. Galvantula, it's giving Raichu V. It's also giving strong one prize Pokemon that can take down two prize Pokemon. It's also giving the fact that you're discarding these energies. If you're playing it with a deck that uses Magneton, which there's a good chance you might, you can recycle those energies with your Magneton and throw it back onto your next Pokemon on the following turn like the energies never left. So Galvantula, pretty cool card, and again, this is going to be a card that is not going to be like a multiple copy inclusion of in your lightning type decks. This is going to be a card that's going to be a one-off attacker for when the scenario calls for it for your Joltik to evolve. Your Galvantula could be that clutch attacker to close out the game. And again, one lightning energy. There's not too many lightning Pokemon out there that can have a substantial attack for one simple energy. So it scales even higher, right? You could go 2 for 100. But yeah, having that 1 for 50 could also be the difference maker at the very end of the game if your opponent's Pokemon is hanging on life support. Galvantula can clean it up too. Now just keep in mind, you know, Joltiks are squishy little buggers. They're 30 HP, so you kind of have to make up your mind probably in the earlier game into what Galvantula you want to evolve your Joltiks into. But yeah, I'm very, very happy to see this Galvantula. It makes me happy to see sort of like a Raichu reincarnate, but we have an actual Raichu reincarnate later in this video. So next up, let's get to Tynamo. Tynamo. Cute little fish Pokemon. Kind of reminds me of those fishes you would see in like streams of animes and stuff like that. And it has a very funny attack name. We have Hold Still. For one colorless, it says heal 10 damage from this Pokemon. That sounds so goofy. Like Tynamo's gonna live through an attack. Heal 10 damage? Come on now. So this is where it gets hard to talk about. Mareep, I forget actually how much HP Mareep had. I swear Mareep had 60 HP or 70. I want to say 60. Our boy Mareep used to have 60 HP. He used to have 60 HP. We've been downgraded to 40 HP. That is hard to see. That is a hard watch, man. Tynamo, 40 HP. Come on, Pokemon. You're hurting us here. Now, there is an upside to this. There is a sort of a trade-off we had to make. You know, we're compromising on the HP output, but we're also getting free retreat. So, is it worth it? We're gonna find out over the next couple of months. Is it better to have the 60 HP with the 1 retreat cost or the 40 HP with free retreat? So, Tynamo is very, very scary because if you are playing against those spread style of decks, Tynamo is going to get feasted on. It's going to get feasted on like those people who like to put anchovies on pizza. What's with that? If you like anchovies on pizza, why? What possess you to put fish on your pizza? I don't know, but you know what? Who am I to judge? I personally enjoy pineapple on pizza. I'm a Hawaiian kind of guy. I love my bacon, ham, pineapple. Shout out to my pineapple gang pizza people out there. Hawaiian pizza was actually made in Ontario. That was where it started. And they've actually done a brand deal before with Pizza Hut. So shout out to Pizza Hut, my favorite sponsor, one of my favorite sponsors of my like career as an influencer. Pizza Hut's amazing. Shout out Pizza Hut. They're not paying me to say this anymore, but shout out Pizza Hut. Love you. All right, enough yapping about pizza and enough yapping about this fish Dynamo, because Dynamo is not what we're here for. The big upgrade, the big inclusion that everybody that plays Miraidon and Lightning type decks is excited about is this right here, Electric 90 HP or electric, whatever. This eel is gonna be potentially what puts Miraidon back on the map without the Joltix out there. So we got the Dynamotor ability. You guys know Dynamotor. You've heard it before, you know, our boy Flaffy used to have it before Flaffy got rotated. It says here, once during your turn, you may attach a basic lightning energy card from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. So it doesn't specify it has to be a lightning Pokemon. You can put that energy onto any type of Pokemon. It just has to be a basic lightning Pokemon. Really good card. And you know, Miraidon, it's gonna get some more love, more juice in the tank. You love to see it. We have the electric ball attack. I also think that's like the same attack that the Flappy used to have, to be honest with you. But yeah, electric ball. You're not attacking with Electrike. Electrike is easily going to be one of those boss counter catcher stall targets that your opponents are going to try and steal some turns away with you from. But you know, Air Balloon's coming out soon, so all you need is an Arven Air Balloon and you're cooking. All right, next up, let's get to the next lightning Pokemon. This is another huge deal. This Pokemon card right here could really be the difference maker for Miraidon. We got Zekrom EX, my favorite legendary from Black and White. Mainly because I know I'm going to be playing it in Miraidon. It just looks so cool. Like this guy looks like a badass. This guy looks cool. All right, so Zekrom EX, 230 basic HP Pokemon, a thick boy just like Iron Hands EX. We got the same sort of style of attack and card as the Reshiram and Kyurem we saw earlier. So Zekrom is also just like those, 130 damage base. You need 2 energies of the type that it is, just like the legendary. So 2 lightning and then a colorless. And it says for Voltage Burst, you do 50 damage for each prize card your opponent has taken, and then you self-inflict 30 damage onto your Zekrom. So no big deal. That 30 is not too big of a deal, honestly, but that 50 damage for each prize card your opponent has taken is huge. This is some Charizard EX power scaling, especially for the late game. Really good, especially to just close out on those big 330 HP Pokemon or 300 HP Pokemon, because sometimes your deck is just not able to get there. And on top of that, you know, we had Pikachu EX, right? We had Pikachu EX, but because of Pikachu EX, we also had to mess around with our energy typing. We couldn't play electric generators anymore, because why play electric generators when only 1/3 of your energies are actually going to be accessible for that generator to be put on. So Zekrom EX coming out is Raichu V's spirit animal or replacement. It's reincarnate. This is Raichu V. This is essentially the new Raichu V. Now, it is quite nice that it is like able to do some solid attacking numbers without having to discard the energies. So you could attack with this also mid-game and then also close out with it. Voltage Burst is also really good too, because all it takes is one Magneton exploding and you just flood those energies onto the Zekrom, and then Zekrom can start going for those big 1-hit KOs to close out the game. It also has 2 retreat cost, which is really good because it's going to play well with cards like Air Balloon if you just just need to put an Air Balloon on Zekrom to give it free retreat. And yeah, it's a good time to be a Miraidon player, man. We got Dynamotor back, we got sort of Raichu back in Zekrom EX, and maybe Zekrom might even be better because, you know, Raichu V, you needed to have a lot of energies on board, right? You had to maintain energy presence, so with things like EXP share or just hitting generators late game, but Zekrom just means it's a little more or a little less maintenance you need. You only need 3 on the Zekrom, and that's it. You're chilling. So shout out to all my Miraidon gamers out there. I'm going to be cooking up Miraidon for you guys when the set comes out in July. July 18th is the set. Next up, let's get to the Psychic Pokemon. So this first one's a creepy one. We got Yamask, 70 HP, Buddy Poffinable. Very underwhelming, but it's cool to see we have a new Yamask available, which means we have more Yamask support and Cofagrigus, because there's a Cofagrigus EX right now out there, and there's other Cofagrigus out there as well. So having more options to evolve your Yamask into is going to be pretty nice. And we got the Cofagrigus Stage 1 right here, 120 HP. We have a very cool attack. We have Elongating Damagrigus. What kind of name is that, bro? That's crazy. It says here, for 1 Psychic and 1 Colorless, move all damage counters from one of your bench Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Ooh, spicy. So it's basically Team Rocket's Wobbuffet, but on a stage 1 Pokemon. And you can't use Team Rocket's energy, of course, for just one attachment to do this attack. But if you do pair this with, I see a world here right now, honestly. This could pair very, very well with a Steven's Metagross EX. Because Steven's Metagross is thick. It's like, I think 330 or 360 HP or big. It's like a big massive tank, right? You got this big massive tank that's really hard to 1 KO. And then you have the ability on Metagross, which lets you accelerate 1 Psychic and 1 Metal energy from your deck to a Psychic or Metal Pokemon on your side of the field once per turn. So you can instantly set up this Cofagrigus with your Metagross, and then your Metagross can just retreat, and then you throw all the damage over back from that Metagross onto your opponent's active Pokemon. So very cool synergy to be had right there. And then we have the other attack, Perplex. It does 60 damage for 1 Psychic double colorless. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. So pretty cool, but if we're going to be confusing your opponent's Pokemon, probably going to want to be confusing it with like a Monkey Dory, at least when you're playing Metagross. So Cofagrigus, really cool card. And the fact that you can pair it with Metagross is really nice, so that's probably one of the first partners I could see it going with. Next Pokemon we got is Frillish. We got 80 HP, so you can't buddy popping this out. It's too bad, but honestly, I think it's fair because this card that it's evolving into is going to be a menace. This card that it's evolving into is Badoo on steroids. Oh my gosh, we're going to talk about it in a second, but real quick, we got Frillish, 80 HP for 1 Psychic. Does the Sea Shadows attack, 20 damage. During your opponent's next turn, they can't play any item cards from their hand. Does that sound familiar to you? It really should. So for an attachment of energy, you're doing 20 instead of 10. And you have an 80 HP Frillish, which can tank a hit potentially from something. But then what it evolves into is absolutely diabolical. We have Jellicent EX. This is a card that is going to be very, very annoying. It's not going to be as seen like Badoo is. Like Badoo, you throw that card into a lot of decks. Jellicent is going to make its way into Gardevoir, which is going to be very, very annoying. Like Gardevoir is already so good. They're just giving Gardevoir more cards, man. Jellicent also is going to pair very well with Metagross. I'm excited to pair it with Metagross. I'm going to be a little toxic with that one, not going to lie. And yeah, it's a really cheap attack cost. You got 1 Psychic, 1 Colorless, Power Press. You do 80 damage, and if there's 2 extra energies on it, you do 80 more, so 160. But you know, that number, that attack, it's cool and all, but what really matters here, what's the highlight of Jellicent EX, is the ability Sea Curse. It says here, as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent can't play any item cards or attach any Pokemon tool cards from their hand. So we're not only item locking, we're also tool locking. Those are 2 types of cards that are very, very important to accelerate your board state, to grow your board, to continue to progress the game. We're denying 2 different things, not just one. On top of that, the power number of you know, we're used to getting item locked for 10, and then eventually we're going to get used to being item locked for 20. But now we're going to get item locked for 80 damage and still be under the item tool lock, and then potentially make it 160 if there's extra energies. So this card is a godsend, I think, to make Metagross very competitive. I'm going to be playing Metagross with Jellicent EX. I might become a Metagross gamer, I'll be honest with you. I might be a little toxic. You could also pair this with potentially other cards like Iron Thorns. You could definitely play Iron Thorns EX with this. If you need extra energies on the Jellicent, your Thorns is going to throw it over with the attack or the effect of the attack. So you can go from ability locking to item and tool locking to then ability locking again. It's going to get pretty ridiculous, I'll be honest with you. So yeah, it's like your opponent is going to have to choose what they can't do. It's going to be pretty evil. So Jellicent EX, really, really strong. And on top of that, you know, it is only a 1 Psychic and 1 Colorless attack cost. So there's absolutely a world where you can see players using this card and pairing it with a, Luminous Energy, and you know, making Jellicent just, you could put Jellicent in anything almost, similar to how Badoo is in anything. But yeah, Jellicent is really going to show its true strengths in Gardevoir. Jellicent's a menace. It's going to be an absolute menace. Next up is another really, really cool card. I'm excited to see how this card will potentially change the game, warp the format. It might even change a lot about certain decks, because it's Meloetta EX, 200 HP Psychic, basic Pokemon, but it has a very, very unique ability, an ability that we don't see on any Pokemon ever. And sometimes Pokemons have attacks that they can do on their first turn, but this is an ability that lets you attack on the first turn with this Meloetta. But you don't just have to lock in with the echoed voice attack that it has, but let's talk about the echoed voice attack first of all. For one psychic, you do 30 damage. Then it has the effect, during your next turn, this Pokemon's echoed voice attack does 80 more damage. So if your opponent starts a lone Bidoof or some Cleffa or whatever 30 HP Pokemon, you can turn one donk them with echoed voice. That's pretty cool. That is really, really cool. Being able to turn one donk with an attack like that against an evil toxic Pokemon like Bidoof, you love to see it. But if you want to not use the echoed voice attack, you can still attack on the first turn, but you can pair Meloetta with something like a, you guessed it, technical machine evolution. So being able to turn one Evo your Pokemon is insane. You could definitely build your deck in a way where you have to have the turn one Meloetta attack the Team Evo, and then you can set up like 2 of your stage 1 Pokemon. Maybe you want to set up Charmeleons, maybe you want to set up Curlias, maybe you want to set up Matangs. The list goes on, so that when you go into your second turn of playing the game, you don't even need rare candy anymore. You can just straight up evolve into the stage 2 because your Team Evo kicked in. It cooked. So yeah, Meloetta EX, really, really cool card. I'm genuinely excited for this card. I don't know, we don't know the potential of this card, and I'm just realizing now, why does its arms look like a bunch of like air balloons? Like the balloons you'd see at a fair that you could make into certain designs. It looks like a twig. Meloetta looks like a balloon animal that just has like a bobblehead on it. Well, what the heck? Meloetta is a goofy one. Also, I like the fact that there's like the music notes and the stuff like that on the card. Like there's I forget the terminology, but yeah, all the different notes and stuff. That's pretty cool. All right, so yeah, Meloetta EX. That is the final psychic Pokemon. But now we have to get into the fighting Pokemon. Fighting Pokemon, we got Drillbur, pretty underwhelming card, 70 HP. It's very similar to one of the other stage 1 Pokemons we saw earlier, where it's a 1 energy for 10 and then 2 energy for 30. But anyways, Drillbur evolves into Excadrill EX. Excadrill EX, stage 1, 270 HP. We got Penetrating Drill for 2 fighting. You do 60 damage, and then you also snipe for 60 damage as well. Ooh, that seems pretty cool. I like that. I really like that. And then we got Rock Tumble for 3 fighting. It's a 200 damage attack that isn't affected by resistance as well. Not that I think there's many Pokemon that are resistant to fighting, but it had that text in there. And yeah, that's really cool. You can set up some really cool 2-prize KOs. There's a world where you can pair Excadrill with some really other strong fighting Pokemon. I know that, like, is it Ting Lu? If Ting Lu EX is in your active, your opponent's non-EX Pokemon have no abilities, so you can set up damage with Penetrating Drill to turn off the abilities of certain Pokemon on your opponent's side of the field, maybe something like a Dracloak, but you'd have to get the Ting Lu in the active again after that. But anyways, Penetrating Drill, definitely a cool attack, a cool stage 1 Pokemon. It's cool to see some fighting or ground Pokemon get some support in this set. Potentially a very easy attack to pull off as well with the help of something like I think it's Rusty Pickaxe, where you can accelerate fighting energies. And also Excadrill is a non-ability stage 1, so you could Salvatore into it as well. Alright, next up we got Archon, the Pokemon that evolves from a fossil and then evolves into one of the most menacing Pokemon from the past. So yeah, Archon here, 80 HP, honestly looks like a derpy little bird. We got Acrobatics, an attack that we're not going to ever use. And then we got Archeops right here. Archeops, oh my gosh, I'm getting flashbacks to all those Lugia players out there. A stage 2 that originally evolves from a fossil item card. Primal Wings. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may choose one of your opponent's evolved Pokemon and devolve it by putting the highest stage evolution card on it into your opponent's hand. So it is a on-demand devolution ability. Very, very cool. There's definitely a world where you could see some control decks play this. You could pair this with like some Frostlash shenanigans as well. And yeah, Archeops, really cool card, very unique ability. I like it. And then we have the Rock Throw attack. For 1 fighting, 1 colorless, you do 100 damage, which could be enough to instantly KO a devolved Pokemon that you did. And you can even take 2 prize knockouts with this Pokemon as well, with the help of the Archeops ability. Dark Pokemon, we got Zorua. Zorua, they keep printing Zoroark cards. I don't blame them. Zoroark is a fan favorite, and I believe Black and White is the generation where Zoroark and Zorua came out, so that makes a lot of sense. So Zorua, 70 HP, and you can buddy popping this baby out. Takedown attack. For 1 dark, you do 30, and you hit yourself for 10. I think a Pokemon that has that same attack is Team Rocket's Spit Ops right now. I've been playing a lot of Team Rockets lately. All right, next up we got Zoroark. I swear they've printed so many Stage 1 baby Zoroarks like this before, and I swear they have this exact attack too. I've played these games before. For 1 dark, you got Mind Jack, 30 damage for each of your benched Pokemon, so you're capping out at 150. However, if you're playing with maybe a Terra Pokemon, you could pump those numbers up a bit more. And then we got Foul Play for triple colorless or ignition energy or reversal. It says choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. So basically it's genome hacking on a 1 prize Pokemon, and that's always going to be pretty solid, especially with so many stage 2 Pokemon out there with really good attacks. And yeah, Foul Play, all it needs is 1 ignition energy and or a reversal, and it's like if you knew your Zoroark was going to get knocked out the next turn anyways, reversal in that case could be the exact same benefit or same thing as like an ignition energy, because the ignition energy was only going to last 1 turn anyways too. Next up we got a Pokemon, we got to shout out Little Dark Fury, Hydreigon EX, 330 HP, dark Pokemon. This one's not Terra though, so it's not going to be protected on the bench, but it does have a really strong ability. It has greedy eater. That's me at the Chinese buffets or whenever there's a pizza party. No, I'm pretty civilized when it comes to pizza party. I take my share. I don't overdo it. I know some people out there, they take more than they share, more than they're greedy eaters. I know some greedy eaters out there. I know some big backs out there. If your opponent's basic Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack this Pokemon uses, take 1 more prize card. Yeah, a Pokemon that takes additional prize cards. Sounds familiar? On Hands EX, baby. But yeah, Hydreigon EX is only taking bonus prize cards off of basic Pokemon, so do keep that in mind. And we have the attack here for 5 energies, 3 dark, double colorless, dark bite, 200 damage, and it is a retreat lock attack, so pretty good card. That means if your opponent isn't able to retreat their big basic Pokemon that didn't get KO'd by Hydreigon EX, they're going to take a 3 prize knockout on your big basic Pokemon on that next turn. So you might have to have some answers to this if it becomes very meta, but I don't see it becoming too meta. But really cool card, and if you're already going to play Hydreigon EX already, you may as well just throw this sucker in there too, because it just makes sense. It just makes sense. Hydreigon, there could be like Hydreigon box. I would play that. I would play that. Yeah, I'd play it. All right, next up is a Pokemon I am super excited for. This Pokemon makes me so happy. The same way I'm happy for Miraidon getting a buff, or it's like Lightning Dex getting a buff, Genesect EX is that for Metal Pokemon or Steel Pokemon. So Genesect EX, 220 HP, big basic Pokemon with a cracked out ability, baby. We got Metal Signal. It's just like Batman, but for Metal Pokemon, we're not getting Batman, we're getting Metal Pokemon, baby. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 Evolution Steel Pokemon and put them into your hand and then shuffle your deck. That is so good. We are getting Pokemon consistency out of another Pokemon. Sounds familiar, right? Right? Yeah, just like Miraidon getting those basics, but Genesect is getting those evolutions instead, which means if you have a rare candy in your hand and you're not item locked, you can just go rare candy and Genesect will bring out your big stage 2 Pokemon. Metagross, baby. Metagross stonks up because Genesect, you Nest Ball Genesect, Buddy Poffin, 2 Beldums. Alright, next turn, oh, you got Arven. Oh, you have rare candy. Oh, you're not item locked. That's great. Now we can Genesect and grab not 1, but 2 Metagross EXs or another, steel metal Pokemon that we want. I'll call it steel. I'll call it steel Pokemon. I think it's steel in the video games. But yeah, you can get 2 Metagrosses and accelerate 4 energies per turn. And your Genesect is also a really solid attacker as well. For 2 steel and a colorless, you got Protect Charge, 150 damage. It says during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. I see a world where I'm playing a lot of Metagross. I really am. I'll admit it, Genesect does pair insanely well with our Chaladon EX. You know, all you need to have is Duraludon. You don't even need rare candies. You don't care about item lock. The only thing you're going to care about is getting those metal energies in the discard, so your Archaladon can accelerate those. So you're probably playing like what, 4 research, 4 Carmine, popping off turn 1, and then turn 2 guaranteed Archaladon EXs going at your opponent. Genesect EX is broken. It is broken. It is so good. I'm excited for this card, baby. Let's get it. Let's go. Next up, let's get to the colorless Pokemon. We got Lillipup, really cute artwork by So-So or Sao. I think it's Sao. Sao does amazing artwork, and it's always like this cool pencil crayon style. Always a fan of it. We got the Play Rough attack. I like using that attack on my girlfriend. Next up, we got the Herdier attack. We have a really cute Pokemon as well, also by Sao. So it's matching artworks for Sao. And we have the Roar attack, and then we got Stoutland right here. Stoutland, the land of the Stouts. Yo, that mustache is majestic, I gotta say. And another artwork by Sao. I love that. I love the fact that they got Sao to do the entire evolution line. I really wish they would do that for a lot more cards out there. You can do some really cool storytelling by having the same artist do the full evolutionary line. So I'm a huge fan of that. I keep saying evolutionary line. Is that the right word? Evolutionary or evolution line? I think it's evolution line. Anyways, we have the attack here, Odor Sleuth. That's what I feel like when I go out to some Pokemon card tournaments. There's some foul odors I do smell. I do smell those. All right, flip 3 coins for each heads. Put a card from your discard pile into your hand. So pretty cool card. Might see its way into some control style decks. And then we have Special Fang for 4 colorless. You do 100 damage, and if there's a special energy attached to this Pokemon, you do 100 more. So basically, 1 basic energy and your ignition energy or reversal, and you're swinging for 200 on a stage 2 Pokemon. That's a 1 prize Pokemon, or a 1 prizer. Next up, we got Bouffalant EX. So this is a card that you could potentially make a huge tanky deck with. You know, there's the Bouffalants that people used to play with the Terapagos EX. Well, you could play the baby Bouffalants, and then you got the big Bouffalant, baby. Bouffalant EX, 220 HP, big, thick, basic Pokemon, but it's basically actually 250 HP because this takes 30 less damage from attacks. So there's a world where if you have double baby Bouffalant, you're taking 60 less damage. You have Bouffalant EX, you're taking 30 less damage. That stacks. You are now taking 90 less damage from attacks. Now, if you want to pair this sucker with something like Monkey Dory, you're basically taking another 30 less damage on your turn of attacks, and you're throwing that damage back at your opponent as well. So really cool card. Bouffalant EX could become a colorless, tanky powerhouse of a defensive deck. I definitely will be building this deck. The Afro looks phenomenal on this Pokemon as well. And we have the Gold Breaker attack for 3 colorless, aka Ignition Energy. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon EX, this attack does 100 more damage. So honestly, your opponent's Pokemon, they're gonna need to be EX Pokemon to actually do some meaningful damage, because basically what I'm saying is you're gonna be resistant. You're gonna have built-in 90 damage resistance just for existing with Bouffalant EX and 2 Bouffalants on board. On top of that, if you're doing 200 back to your opponent, that's really good. And then Monkey Dory some damage over. That's effectively 230. Really cool card. I'm excited for it. Next up, let's get to the items and tool cards. So starting things off, this card might be one of the most impactful or most played new cards in the set. We got Air Balloon. It makes your retreat cost of your Pokemon 2 less. Now this is a reprint. This used to be in Sword and Shield. I actually have some older copies of Air Balloon that I used to use in my Zacian V deck. So I'm excited to use my old Air Balloons. The text reads exactly the same. So similar to how you can play Nest Balls and Ultra Balls from the past, you can also play your previous Air Balloons. Save yourself 50 cents to $1 there. Air Balloon is going to be very, very good. It's going to be in so many decks as a 1 or 2 of copy, so make sure you pull your Air Balloons out of your bulk from Black and White. Next up, we got Antique Clover Fossil. So this is going to evolve into the big turtle Pokemon. Item card here, 60 HP basic Pokemon essentially as well, and it says at any time you may discard this Pokemon from play. It has the ability Protective Cover, prevent all effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. So it's immune from things like Dragapult EX damage counters. Next up, we got Antique Plume Fossil. This is going to be evolving into our big Archeops. It has the ability here, Wing Protection. As long as this Pokemon is on your bench, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks. So our other fossil had protection from effects. Plume Fossil will have protection from attacks. So not as good against Dragapult. I kind of wish it was the other way around. Because then this deck would be able to devolve your opponent's Dragapult and then knock out the Dracloak. Next up, we have Brave Bangle, another really strong tool card, very similar to Air Balloon. You know, Air Balloon's sort of defensive because you're running away, retreating. Brave Bangle is on the offensive. So this card gives your Pokemon some bonus damage. It says the attacks of this Pokemon this card is attached to, excluding rule box Pokemon, do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Sometimes, you know, 30 damage is all you need to hit that magical number for that instant knockout. Every damage counter counts, as you guys know, 10, 20, 30, it all adds up over time, and 30 is a really nice number to hit because there's a lot of Pokemon out there that will just like live by the skin on their teeth with like under 30 HP or 30 HP exactly. So Brave Bangle can help seal the deal in those scenarios. Next up, we have 2 more item cards, and then we're going to get to the supporters and energy. So for the next item cards, we have energy coins. It says flip 2 coins. At both our heads, search your deck for a basic energy card and attach it to one of your Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. So I think we still have energy sticker, right? Energy sticker, you flip 1 coin, and if it's a heads, you can accelerate to your bench Pokemon. Energy coins is flip 2 coins. If both are heads, accelerate from your deck. Doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan, but hey, as you guys know, energy acceleration is one of the big things in Pokemon. There's a reason you can only attach 1 energy per turn from your hand. So any form of energy acceleration is always good. So this is just a new way, RNG way that you could accelerate some energies. I'd rather just play Electric Generator than energy coins, but some decks might need that extra push. Energy coins can help get you there, and maybe you're in a deck that that can really utilize, you know, going down to a very low hand size, maybe a restart for more with Mew, or you're a research heavy deck, or you're a you know, just a deck that goes to churns through their hand. Energy coin could be an item card for that extra energy. And then the other item card in the set that is a reprint as well, just like Air Balloon. I think these were also printed in the same sets, maybe Sword and Shield base set, but we got Tool Scrapper. Tool Scrapper, an old friend. Choose up the 2 Pokemon tool cards attached to Pokemon and play yours or your opponent's and discard them. So you can take off your opponent's Bravery Charms, you can take off your opponent's Air Balloons, you can take off your opponent's just really strong tools in general. Very strong item card. Of course, it's searchable with Arvin. This is a card that will only see more play as more tools get added to the game, or more powerful tools get added to the game. If there's good tools, Tool Scrapper will be there. If people aren't playing tools, Tool Scrapper won't be there. It's just going to be a dead card. So if you're playing against certain decks that really get to utilize tools, Tool Scrapper could be a really strong counter measure to include in your deck. A very good tech option. Next up, we have the energy cards we're going to talk about, and then the supporters. So for energy cards, we got Ignition Energy. This card is huge. It is really good for so many decks out there. It's 3 colorless energies and 1. So go ahead in your head right now, think about all those Pokemon that you can use Ignition Energy on. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are going to just resort to those Pokemon that would use Reversal Energies, so you could use this on Wugtrio. But for myself, the first Pokemon that I think of when it comes to using Ignition Energy on is Iron Hands EX, baby. 1 Lightning and an Ignition Energy. Oh, Dynamotor Ignition Energy attached per turn. Amp. Yes. Generator Ignition Energy. Amp. Yes. Pretty self-explanatory. As long as there's strong Pokemon that can utilize a triple energy for a turn, we're cooking. We're cooking with this one. All right, next up, we got Prism Energy. Another very strong energy as well. It's basically a Rainbow, an Aurora. It's a every energy in one type of card. However, Prism Energy here reads, as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides a colorless energy. However, if the Pokemon this card is attached to is a basic Pokemon, it provides every type of energy, but provides only 1 energy at a time. So it's a Rainbow Energy for basic Pokemon. The first decks that come to mind that are going to really take advantage of Prism Energy is going to be those Terra Box decks. Those decks that really like to use Crispin as well. You know, if you are missing that other energy for whatever reason, Prism Energy, can be that other energy. So you can't use it for Crispin, of course, but Prism Energy, if you have it in your hand or whatever, you have a way to search it out, which we're going to have a way to search it out soon, which already exists with Colress's Tenacity. If you're a deck builder that wants to play with a lot of big basic Pokemon, or just probably big basic Pokemon, I'll be honest with you, Prism Energy is going to be one of the go-to energies you're going to have 4 of in your deck. All right, we made it to the home stretch. If you made it to this point of the video, I would really love if you hit that like button down below. We have a clown, aka we got Harley Quinn. Each player shuffles their hand into their deck, then flip a coin. If heads, you draw 5 cards and your opponent draws 3. If tails, you draw 3 and your opponent draws 5. Why on earth would you play this? Just play Judge. Just play Judge. Just play Iono. Maybe you have 4 Judge. Maybe you have 4 Iono. Play 4 Pokegear. Don't play Harley Quinn. Don't play Harley Quinn. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Hilda is going to become a must-have in Dragapult where that runs Neo Upper Energy. It's going to become a must-have in a lot of Stage 2 decks that want to run Neo Upper Energy. Hilda says, search your deck for an evolution Pokemon and an energy card, reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Hilda is a very good anti-item lock supporter card. You know, Arven was really good. You could grab an item and a tool. Hilda is going to be the new Arven, okay? Hear me out now. Hilda, the new Arven. Hilda's so good. It's going to be in so many decks like Dragapult, like I mentioned earlier. You can search out your consistency draw engine Pokemon, such as Dracloak, or you can search out your attacker, which is Dragapult EX, and you get to search out an energy. Can be special, can be basic. Basic, great, you know, you needed a very specific energy for that turn, or you just wanted a guarantee you could attach for that turn. Hilda gets you there. You know what else is really good? Instantly searching out your ace spec with Hilda. You couldn't do that before with Arven. Before you had to go grab 4 Seal Stone, and then use Seal Stone, and then grab Neo Upper Energy. Now Hilda just gets you your special energy of choice. Hilda is going to be so good for Wugtrio. It's going to, I know, I'm going from Dragapult EX, big meta BDIF to Wugtrio. I play both sides, okay? I love my mean decks. I love my competitive stuff. Welcome to the channel if you're new. So Hilda is so good. The same way you guys are going to see Arven at 4 copies or used to see Arven at 4 copies, there's going to be a lot of decks that will play Hilda in high amounts as well. And especially if you run special energy cards, it's really nice to be able to search it out. You know, so right now we have Colress's Tenacity, which allows you to search out a stadium and a energy card of your choice. But not every deck can really take advantage of searching out a stadium, and not every deck wants to search out a stadium. But Hilda getting the Pokemon you want, really good. Now, first of all, I'm actually disappointed they didn't release End's plot in Journeys Together. It just would have made sense. We had all the End's Pokemon, but for the black and white set, I'm glad they finally have End's plot. I'm surprised they never re-released End in general. But yeah, End's plot here says move up the 2 energy from your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. So energy acceleration, but your energies have to be on the field already. But it's basically a 2 energy switch card, 2 energy switches in 1, and it's a porter. So you know, if we're stuck under item lock, End's plot, he's doing the pose. End's plot can help get you there. Double E switch on a supporter. Crispin could be better in some cases, attach from deck and then bonus attach from hand. But if all of your energies are on the board already that you want to play with, End's plot is really good, and I could see it getting into quite a few decks as well. Click on screen to watch the newest Pokemon vlog tournament, or if you guys want to see the YouTube short of any of these starter decks, I'll have those also pop up as well. These are from the black and white set from back in the day. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.